Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be learning how to crochet a granny square. Now we're only going to do 2 rows of it because I am going over this for the sake of the temperature blanket I plan on making this year. I would like to share my journey making my temperature blanket, so I feel like I need to show you how to make a granny square if you don't already know how to make one. And I plan on only doing just 2 rounds with each square. In the end, it's going to look like one big calendar instead of doing one row like you may have seen in other projects other people have done. I tried doing it last year, but I made my rows way too long and it was incredibly difficult to keep up, and I ended in the beginning of March and gave up, so I'm trying it again this year. Anyways, getting to business. To start this granny square, if you haven't been watching, you make your magic ring to begin, and then you chain 2, and then you do 2 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 3, and then do 3 double crochets. That first cluster we only do 2 double crochets because the chain 2 at the beginning counts as your first double crochet, so it'll look like you have 3. So we're doing 4 clusters of 3 double crochets with a chain 3 in between them. So now I'm done with my second cluster of double crochets. So now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to do my 3 double crochets. If you don't know how to do a double crochet, I have a tutorial video on how to do a double crochet that you can check out. I will share the link up here in the top right corner. Okay, I'm going to speed the rest of this row up, and I will meet you at the end, where we will join with the slip stitch and move on to the second row. Okay, so now we are at the end of our first row. We are going to do a slip stitch into this very first stitch of our round. So you insert your hook. You'll be tempted to do your slip stitch around the first post, so around that whole chain. You can if you would like to, but personally I don't like to. I just like things to look more uniform. I know you won't really be able to tell looking at the final product, but I'm a little OCD, so I'm going to insert it into the stitch instead of the chain. So you insert your hook, and then we are going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to pull it through the second loop. And now you are going to pull that yarn tight in your magic ring to bring that center closed. And now you're done with your first row. Hey, real quick before we move on, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to use some of the items I'm using, check out the links below. So now, before we start the second row, we need to get our hook moved over to the starting position. So in order to do that without having to cut your yarn, we are just going to slip stitch our way across our work into that chain space in the corner. So now your last slip stitch is going to be in that chain space, and now we are in the correct starting place. So now we're going to chain 3, and this will count as your first double crochet for your first cluster of double crochets. So now we're going to do 2 double crochets, and then we are going to chain 3, and do 3 more double crochets in the same chain space. So now that you're done with that cluster, we're going to go right into doing the next cluster in the next corner. You're going to do the same thing for all 4 corners. 2 clusters with a chain 3 in between. The chain is only in the corners. Now keep in mind, if you wanted to do more rounds than I am doing, that chain space in between where my thumb is right now, you will do your cluster of 3 double crochets in there once, and then continue to do it twice in each corner. For now, just continue doing your 2 clusters of 3 double crochets in each corner, and I will see you at the end of this round. So now that you've made it all the way around, we are going to do a slip stitch into that first stitch. Again, not in the chain space. Do it actually in the stitch. It's actually up to you, but this is what I like to do. So once you do your slip stitch, this is what your granny square should look like. Now you're going to pull that loop up so it's long, and now we're going to cut it. Make sure you leave a long enough strand of yarn on the end so that we can weave in the ends using an invisible sewing technique. Now, do not pull that loop out, okay? Just leave it alone for a second. Now you're going to need a sewing needle. So you're going to want to put your needle on the end of your yarn, like I'm doing here. Okay, so once you have your needle on the yarn, you're going to pull the yarn almost all the way out, just so that it's about the same size as one of the normal loops. If you lay it down, it should be about the same size as that loop below it. And our goal here is to make it look like it is that loop by the way we're going to sew it. So I'm going to take my needle here, and I'm going to go through the back of this next stitch and up through the center. And then I'm also going to go up through the center of our loop that we made. And now you're going to pull your yarn all the way through. Pull it a little bit tight, not too tight. Hopefully you can see where this is going. And now I'm going to skip a stitch and go through the next stitch. And I'm just going to follow this piece of yarn through that stitch. And then I'm going to pull my yarn through. And then I'm going to bring it back around and down through the center of our first stitch that we created. And now it looks like we have made 2 fake stitches on top. That way, later when we are sewing our squares together, we have some loops to crochet into without having to worry about a weird knot tied on the end. It just looks nice and uniform. It makes it a lot easier. So our goal now is to weave in our end so that it disappears. So I'm just going to weave it in and out right here on this top row. You're just going to weave it all the way down, pull your needle through, and then we're going to go right back down the same way we just came, except we're going to skip over that stitch that we came out of so that it keeps it stuck there. And we're just going to weave it right back in. And once you've woven it as far down as you would like, you can either stop there and cut your yarn, or you can go back down one more time. I'm going to go back down one more time just to make sure that it is stuck in place. Also, you don't want to pull your yarn too tight, otherwise it's going to cinch your work, which you don't want. So just make it just tight enough. So I'm going back down a third time. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to pull my yarn just a little bit tight, and then I'll cut my yarn. So I'm going to pull it a little bit tight right here, just so that when we cut our yarn nice and close, it disappears when I stretch it back out. I'm going to cut it right up nice and close. Then you stretch your fabric back out. And you can't even tell that it was there. Ta-da! And now we have one more step. We're going to weave in this last tail that we started our project with. Make sure you pull it tight again to make sure that the center stays closed. So you're going to put your needle back onto your yarn. And then we're going to do the same process that we did with the other strand. We're just going to we're going to try and go around this row. It's okay if it's not perfect. You can really weave it in any direction that you want, as long as it's hidden. And then I'm going to go back down around the same way I just came. And I'm going to do this a couple of times to make sure that my yarn is secure so that it doesn't come back out. So now you're going to cut your yarn, and now your granny square is all done. Congratulations! You are more than welcome to add more rows to it if you would like. Remember that if you do that, make sure you don't forget to add one cluster in each of those gaps in between the clusters in the previous row. Just make sure you always do 2 in the corners with a chain of 3. And there you have it. That is how you make a granny square. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. And make sure to follow my progress with my temperature blanket.